In this bulletin, Ministry confirms plans to vaccinate children. Worst is over for Central and Western divisions. And Lau vaccination progresses well. The Ministry of Health is at the advanced planning stage to begin the vaccination of children under 18 years. Permanent Secretary for Health Dr. James Fong says they will begin with children between the ages of 16 and 18 years old. Dr. Fong says this will involve a stringent process to ensure that parental or guardian consent is secured and online registration is encouraged before vaccination. The required number of vials of the vaccine has been put aside to ensure this target population between 16 and 18 can receive both doses. He adds more stock is expected to continue with the vaccination of eligible children less than 18 years old. The Permanent Secretary says any decision on the opening of schools will be contingent on how well the vaccination phase rolls out. The worst part of the COVID-19 pandemic in the Central and Western Division is over. However, Fijians have been urged not to become complacent. Permanent Secretary for Health Dr. James Fong says the bed occupancy rate is low and the ministry has more than 80% reserved space in the ICU ward. Kritika Kumar reports.
The Ministry of Health has seen a drop in the positivity rate, which has been noted as a positive indicator.
All our various ventilators, our air valves and oxygen stations are almost, quite a lot of them are actually empty at the moment because of the fall in cases.
Dr. James Fong says while work continues in other divisions, their focus is on the Maritime Islands.
Malolo, we have been able to track the entry of the disease and who the disease has been spread to, so our containment program is working there.
Minister for Health Dr. Fremi Wangai Nambete says the vaccination effort in the Maritime Island is progressing well.
In Lakemba and even in Sasamola, at that time, with the registration, we had somewhere around 83% already registered, which was actually a really good sign.
The ministry has warned Fijians not to become complacent as they continue to monitor test positivity, hospitalizations and deaths to track the outbreak progress. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The renovated and modernized Fiji Police National Command and Coordination Center in Totongosuva has opened at the right time. Minister for Defense Inia Seriratu says, as stated by the Prime Minister, the government is considering the review of the current COVID-19 restrictions. Seriratu says this will put more demand on police operations in maintaining national security. He adds the state-of-the-art monitoring systems at the Command and Coordination Center will offer a more secure and safer Fiji. Seriratu says technology is the way forward for most policing agencies and the upgrade at the center will augur well for the government's vision to economic recovery.
Reopening of businesses, the tourism sector, and Fiji reopening itself to the world in our bid to reclaim Fiji's strong economy, as alluded to by the Honourable Prime Minister, will require the Fiji Police Force's total commitment in providing a conducive environment that will spur economic activity.
Fiji is working to pursue mutual acceptance of vaccine program to resume international travel. This will also open up opportunities for other industries. The government hopes to secure recognition of our vaccination rollout ahead of the proposed travel resumption in November. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Tourism will be setting the momentum by endorsing strict protocols once international borders reopen. Securing these agreements with various countries will allow Fiji to explore markets from where tourists can be allowed in.
That there would be a need to have what we call bilateral arrangements in terms of vaccine rollout programs. And once that is recognized, then you could actually bring in people to those countries. And indeed, Fijians would want to travel to some of those destinations, whether it's for business or sporting, tournaments or activities.
The Health Ministry has noted a significant increase in the number of Fijians in Lau who are now fully vaccinated. Health Minister Dr. Fremi Wangai Nambete says most of the eligible population in the province have received their first dose and they hope to achieve 100% full vaccination over the next few weeks. Josiah Nanung reports.
The current enthusiasm from the people of Lau receiving the vaccine is unprecedented. as they now realize its importance to again unlock doors of opportunities that have been closed since last year.
So we are pleased with what's happening in Laos, and we sincerely hope that everyone will be vaccinated, especially those wanting to go back has to make sure that they are fully vaccinated before heading back, and also for the other maritime areas that we're working on.
Rabualu village headman Semesa Lesi says over 15 Rabualu villages in Totoyalau have received their first dose.
The villagers have welcomed the vaccination campaign. Now all of the villagers who are above the age of 18 have received their first dose. They can't wait to receive their second jab. This is a ticket that will open up borders and lifting of maritime travel suspension.
Dr. Wangena Mbete says getting the jab will also ensure their safety when maritime travel reopens.
There is a very strict protocol around, testing, the quarantine and then going across and quarantine and testing again.
Health officials are working around the clock to ensure islands that haven't been visited are targeted over the next few days. Chosaya Nanuga, FBC News.
And to our latest COVID-19 update for today, Fiji recorded 179 new COVID-19 infections for the period ending at 8 a.m. yesterday. 87 cases are from the west and 90 cases from the central division, 1 from the east and north. There are 5 new COVID-19 deaths to report in the last 24-hour period. Fiji has recorded 48,502 cases since April this year. There are now 13,362 active cases with 34,318 recoveries in total. The COVID-19 death toll now stands at 533. The vaccination campaign also continues around the country. As of 8th September, 96.8% of the target population have received at least 1 dose and 54.6% are now fully vaccinated nationwide. Up ahead, Sports Safe Framework launched and no Vodafone Cup. Stay with us. It's now just a matter of time when sporting activities will resume after the launch of the framework for the resumption of sport and recreational activities yesterday. The framework took months to prepare with a joint effort from the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Fiji Sports Commission and the Fiji Sports Council, together with national sporting organizations. The framework consists of 3 levels with tight measures and restrictions. Minister for Youth and Sports Parveen Kumar launched the framework yesterday and reminded all stakeholders of what is at stake.
We must remember that it will depend on us to ensure that once we achieve the return to full contact sports, we don't fall down to square one.
The Fiji Football Association is planning to resume its Digicel Premier League competition in less than 3 weeks. With yesterday's launch of the Return to Play framework, Fiji FA hopes they can get the ball rolling again. Aquila Dama has more.
There are exciting days ahead for Fiji football, and just like last year, they have to take all the safety measures.
We feel that by 1st of October we should be ready to start also without any spectators in the stadium, but that will give us, like we started it last year and this year again, that will give us a platform to see where we are lacking and whatnot, and the government's Ministry of Health to see what needs to be ironed out.
National players are expected to march into camp in Mba next week to prepare for the World Cup qualifiers.
Very short time frame for Fleming to get the national team players, but we are expecting to get an approval from for national team players to come in from 15th or 20th of September in camp.
Even Fiji FA's newest employee can't wait to share his knowledge.
I'm really confident that I'm in the right place with all these good people to develop something very good.
Fiji FA will know next Tuesday whether they'll have to play the World Cup qualifiers in Qatar. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
Fiji Under Sevens coach Sayasi Fuli is keeping his options open for other coaching opportunities. Fuli hasn't ruled out taking the men's sevens coaching job if approached, but he will have a fair idea of his next move by next week. Fuli says he has no plan to apply for the men's sevens coaching job.
Right now, I haven't decided anything, but there's no plan for me to apply for the men's coaching job. Neither what's there, but it's up to FRU to decide what they will offer.
One of Fiji's premier domestic competition, the Vodafone Cup, will not take place this year. 2021 was supposed to be a big year for the competition, with plans to invite teams from around the Pacific. With plans in place to have sporting activities up and running again by October, Fiji National Rugby League believes there's not enough time to host the entire tournament.
For the Vodafone Cup season, we are unable to actually execute a full season, and that's why we're looking at a ninth tournament or 9 series to start at the beginning of the off-season period, which is usually from November, and that's the timeline that we're looking at.
A weak trough of low pressure lies slow moving over the Fiji group. It continues to gradually move southeastwards and affects the eastern parts. That's FBC Morning News. Join us at 7 p.m. for a major bulletin. For news you can trust, get the facts from FBC's TV, radio and digital news at fbcnews.com.fj. Take care and good morning.